Hello and welcome everyone, our Love and Nobel team. And today our video will be about effective communication. Well, you all know that communication is the key to resolving all the problems and all the issues that might occur. However, we're used to thinking that communication is pretty easy and simple. As well, it's what we are doing every little day. It's what we are doing with our friends, with our family, with our relationship partners, and of course with our coworkers. However, in this video, I would really like to show you how complicated from time to time communication might be and how to be an effective communicator so that you were always understood and you had no issues with that one, hopefully. So let's see what's our agenda going to be for today. We will talk basically about why we need the communication. OHD, you can see this one as well. It means open, honest, and direct communication. So we will talk about why we need open, honest, and direct communication, open, honest, and direct communication components, and we will also talk about asking questions. As you might have already seen this picture and this slide, we will start with the Nobel teamwork model, which has its roots in the Lencioni's work. And the first step, and the one that we're going to discuss today, will be once again open, honest, direct communication with respect. And this is actually the first level, but it doesn't really mean that it is easy. So, as you can see, it means restating things, checking for understanding, and we will also proceed with the further discussion. You all know its components. It's also about trust and psychological safety, constructive conflict, commitment, accountability, and attention to results. However, right now we will focus on the first level, and I hope we will proceed with additional videos and explanations on each and every step of the Lencioni teamwork model. However, we feel like the communication level is the most significant for now and the basic one, so we will start with that one. As you can see, it is the basics of everything. So let's talk about why we need open, honest, and direct communication and why we are communicating in general. So, as you can see on the slide, everything depends on communication. And when saying everything, we refer literally to everything because you can't be working without communication. You can't be a friend, you can't be a mother, a father, you can't be in the relationship, whatever. Whenever you go somewhere, whenever you do something, in the majority of things, communication is included. In addition, in nowadays world, as we can see, the majority of the occupations and the professions require high level of communication. As right now, we don't need to be lonely and we don't need to do our work separated from others. What the majority of the teams and corporations value is the teamwork. And of course, there can be no teamwork without communication and ability to explain yourself and to understand others. So, the answering the question why we need open, honest, and direct communication with respect is building trust, which is, of course, crucial for a team because if you don't have trust, you will never have teamwork. You will not be able to work together and to innovate in the best way, as you will simply not be able to talk in the direct and open way. You will never be able to provide each other with some feedback, and you will never ask questions as you will be afraid of judgment. The next step is constructive conflict. Once again, we will talk about it later on, but open, honest, and direct communication with respect is really the key to constructive conflict. As once again, you can't have a conflict if you don't communicate. So it's pretty simple. The next one is effective feedback. As usual, people start providing others with feedback, not understanding the real case of it and the real need for it. And as usual, this feedback is not heard. But when we can communicate in the effective way and when we know how to do it in the best way, we understand how to ask for feedback and how to receive feedback, which also makes us great teamwork people and co-workers. And of course, innovation and creativity. You all know that it is impossible to innovate alone. So, in order to come to a great innovation and to any creative solution, you need to be in a team and you need to be part of the team and you need to be able to collaborate. However, I don't feel like it's possible to be in the team without knowing how to communicate well and without building a great system of the collaboration and communication, which will actually save your time and save your team. So we are used to an idea that communication is pretty simple, but in the majority, what people are struggle with is whenever they have an idea in their head, they feel like it is an amazing idea and they feel like it's the best solution ever, and it might be the case. And right now, they're on the stage when they need to put this idea in someone else's head. But as usual, that's the very place and space where everyone is struggling because it might be simple and it might be easy, but it's not always the case. And I'll show you with our next slides. As usual, I always hear people saying that something like, but I told them that. And you will understand that it never works. Despite the fact you might have told something to someone, it doesn't really mean that they got it, that they understood it, and that they understood it the way you wanted them to understand it. Because we are dealing with a company that is multinational and we have different languages in here. And even such a simple and might be pretty much usual factor as language difference might occur here, and different people speak different language, they understand different words in different ways. So just telling something doesn't really work. Right now I'm gonna frighten you with these two slides. I'm not gonna explain it here, it's just for you to have a look at it, as well as you can see the QR code here. And in the spreadsheet, you will find a link where you will be able to explore the transactional model of communication. It's just for you to see some of the models and just for you to understand how communication is literally complicated and how hard it might be from time to time to get your idea into someone else's head, and how many different things might occur on your way to receiving that one and to communicating with some other person. So you can see this slide as well as this one. They are two different communication model. This one is the NLP model of communication, which is also a great model to understand how this process work, how this process of perceiving and changing the information work, and it's actually once again a key part of the communication. You can also find a QR code here, and you will have a link to a YouTube video as well as an article to read about it if you will be interested in it. So, as you can see, simple communication is in fact really complicated, and just saying something and just telling them almost never works. So, in this case, we don't have to think that, okay, never mind, I'll not talk to them. Still, we need to collaborate and still we need to be in the team. So in this video, we will try to discuss the key components of communication and of effective communication. And I hope that you will feel way better after watching this video and you will be way better communicators. So let's get started with the components. Right now on the slide, you can see six components which open, honest, and direct communication with respect belongs to. At first, we will talk about be brief, be present, stay active, restating and asking questions, checking for understanding, and staying on topic. So let's talk about them one by one. Uh, Being brief means that you speak no more than 30 seconds. You all know these rules from your leadership course and from the leadership practice where you were told not to speak more than 30 seconds, and always check for understanding from the interns and ask questions, but why actually we need it. I'm sure that every one of you has experienced a situation where you've been on a call and someone was speaking for 5 minutes, monologuing, and I'm sure that you have lost your attention in 1 minute probably. So, this statement refers to being able to get the information that you are told. And right now, our attention pool, let's say, it shrinks a lot, and we cannot accept and we cannot proceed with a great amount of information once. So, the best way to overcome this challenge is to speak for 30 seconds, which means discuss one small item, one small topic, or one question, then stop, check for understanding, and proceed. Checking for understanding might be different things. We will also talk about it. It's also important for you to understand that you need to provide others with the space to talk. And you can hear me saying, make a statement or ask a question dozens of times, as well as Andrew. But it is definitely the way to check for understanding, understand that we are being heard, that our interns or the people whom we are pitching something, they're paying attention, they are actively listening, and that they are on the same page with us. If a person is not on the same page about what we have just discussed, means that we cannot proceed with the discussion furthermore. We need to stop and make sure that we are being on the same page and that we understand what we are talking about. And of course, we need to share the floor and let everyone speak, because we can't let one person teaching a meeting basically, because we are not a school. We are really used to having a teacher who talks for 45 minutes or whatever the lesson is. But once again, it's not the case in Nobel, because we want everyone to speak. We want everyone to voice their opinion, to bring up to ideation, to feedback, to asking questions, and to make sure that everyone is heard and everyone is participating. The next points are being present and staying active. I feel like it's also pretty much clear for from our noble norms. However, I have seen a lot of time that people struggle with understanding what that is. So, being present means actively participating, meaning that you are staying with your camera, that you can unmute yourself whenever you are asked, as well as you are asking not only when you are called on, but you are asking and restating things as the meeting is going and as some discussion is processing and continuing. Also, you cannot do any work besides the meeting, so it's not the case that you can stay on a meeting, go to another tab, and do something else in there. If you feel like the meeting is not for you and you cannot contribute to it from different reasons, ideas, whatever is there, just say it, that I'm sorry, I'm not the one to be part of this meeting, explain it, and leave. That would be way better than sitting on a meeting and not being active, not paying attention, and not responding to when you're being asked. As well as, once again, it's important to make statement and ask questions, as it shows your presence, as well as it helps others to understand your points of view and to change their points of view if there was something wrong in their statement. Which means that we proceed with the next item, which I've just described, restating and ask questions, which is an amazing way to get to a shared understanding. However, this page, this slide, also means that you are staying on topic. So, restating and asking questions means that you don't randomly talk about something over the discussion, but that you are being present and you are understanding what the discussion is about, and you are contributing to this very discussion. Of course, from time to time, there might be some connected topics. However, it's very important to book them for later and just proceed with the current discussion. And of course, you must restate or ask questions. It's not a choice in Nobel, because once again, you have to stay active, you have to be participating, and everyone in Nobel is a very valuable contributor. And if you are with us, means that your ideas are amazing and your thoughts are awesome. And that's why we really need you to talk and we really want to hear from you, your thoughts, your ideas, your questions. If you are disagreeing with something or whatever, it will help the teams grow and avoid a lot of mistakes. And once again, when asking some questions, you don't have to know the answer or address it. You probably all know it. So we are not robots. We are not ChatGPT or whatever is in there. So we might receive a question that we don't know an answer for. And it's absolutely great. It means that there is some place for you to improve your research or your problem statement, whatever it was. So you will thank for this question. You will understand that this person who asked the question really deeply thought about your problem and came up with something that you didn't pay attention to. But you have to make sure that everyone is asking, that all the questions are heard and addressed, or they are preserved for later discussion or later ideation or later processing of it. And once again, you might want to update your peers on some question. For instance, if you cannot address it on this meeting, you will make sure to address it the next time, saying, "Oh, thank you so much for your question. Last meeting you asked me something like that, but I didn't know the answer, so we made a research and we found out that." And it will really be valuable. It will mean that you really care about the feedback that you are given and that you are trying to improve yourself. Getting to a shared understanding is also a crucial part of communicating because it means that you encourage active listening. So, once again, we already talked that you gotta speak for no more than 30 seconds and then check for understanding. Checking for understanding must be restating something and asking, okay, did I get you right? Or is it something you've described? Or asking for more detail, something like, can you tell me something more about it? And in this case, checking for understanding means that you are sending an information and you are responsible for it, which means that you are responsible for if the information has reached out to a person that you were trying to send this information to. If not, you got to check for understanding, make sure that you're on the same page or not, and discuss it more. Provide more details, explain it in other words, and ensure that there is clarity between two of you and that you got everything and everything is fine. If you find that there is something lacking, that there is a knowledge gap, you might either need to explain once again in other details and other words, or it might mean that you don't know something, and once again, it's totally fine. This process is done specifically for finding what you don't know because we don't know what we don't know. And when finding our knowledge gap, we either explain it once again or we go back to our research or to our team saying, okay, it seems to me we didn't think about it. Let's think about it. And they are awesome options and awesome ways to understand what you're lacking and not to make silly mistakes when you can avoid them. As for staying on topic parts, it's really important to use parking lots. It's one of the project management techniques which allow you to address the issues during the meetings, not interrupting it. So, whenever there is a question or an issue or a topic that is raised during the meeting, but your team feels like it's not the topic or you feel like it's out of topic and you have to address it saying thank you so much for your question or thank you so much for your feedback or statement. Let's make sure that we discuss it at the end of the meeting. I will put it in the parking lot, and at the end, we will have 10 minutes of parking lot discussing, and we will discuss all of the issues that were out of topic. Or we can also have effective follow up meetings as we understand that this is out of topic, book another meeting, and proceed with this discussion during the next meeting. It's, as you can see on the slide, it really helps you maximize your time efficiency as you don't jump from one topic to another, confusing everyone and confusing yourself. The next set of our open, honest, and direct communication with respect components will be respecting others, being direct, being on time, using open chats, no DMs, having agenda and coming prepared, and taking notes live. So the first one is that we always need to respect others, and it's not a choice. You might not like someone. It's fine. We're people. We're personalities. But it's always important to treat each other with respect as it avoids us from being misunderstood or misinterpreted. It is just a great way to talk because you never want to get emotional and you never want to offend anybody as you don't want to be offended. So we need to prevent emotions from stopping communication. There are dozens ways to do it. You can Google it or just think about it, but it's really important not to become emotional and not to start arguing on something and just to be calm and trying to address an issue. Also, it helps you build and maintain trust, and of course, it shows your openness to feedback. So, whenever you're respecting someone, it means that you're always fine and you will always hear feedback from others, which will definitely help you develop yourself and which is an amazing and a powerful tool to grow and once again to develop yourself and of course your team. So we can never ever allow ourselves to be disrespectful or to avoid or to being emotional and argue about something. We're all humans, and as usual, if you get emotional about something, means you did something wrong or you made a mistake. But once again, it's totally fine. We are learning, we are processing the information, and we all understand it. The next point is being honest, open, honest, and direct communication, which helps you build a trust inside your team because whenever this person is not honest with you, you cannot understand that there is any trust and you will never be able to build a great team. Also, it encourages open communication, which we will discuss in the next slides, and it also reduces misunderstandings because whenever you're not being honest and you're hiding something will always lead to a bad impression or to a misunderstanding of an idea or of a thought or whatever, and it's not an effective way to collaborate. And the second point, which is also connecting with it, is being direct. So you never tell Anna to tell Darina to tell Gerard to tell Jan about this issue. You are always being direct, and whenever you need to say something to a person, you go specifically to this person. There is no hierarchy in Nobel, and we understand that we cannot control everything, and there are different things where we need to hear different ideas from other people. Something like I might not understand what is happening in Nursed, or Nursed might not understand what is happening in course design. So whenever Nursed might need something from the course design, they don't go to the nurse team lead, and nurse team lead goes to the course design, but we make sure that this communication is direct, and whoever pointed the problem or the issue is the one person to go to the course design and to say that hey, there was something wrong. The course design and the nurse were just the examples of the team who came to my mind. So yeah, it's really important that we don't build that hierarchy which exists in the old companies and the models with that are on the left. You remember that slide with the global ways to work, which being on the left being controlled, being in war, and on the right being inspired and being in freedom and peace. So let's not become the company on the left and not build the hierarchy in here. Also, pretty much simple norm, but it's also very important to be on time. It helps you control your time as well as it helps you respect the time of others. It's also part of being respectful because it's really bad when the person is 20 minutes late and you hate waiting. Whenever you have to cancel the meeting, cancel it sometime before, but not 5 minutes before the meeting. Just Treat people the way you want them to treat you, because it always works both ways. And you never want to have a meeting that is canceled 5 minutes before when you already prepared for it for 2 hours. It's not the best case. So let's hold each other accountable, let's respect each other, and let's be on time. And of course, it helps you being efficient and just work in the best way. One of my favorite points is using open chat and not using DMs, which is really crucial in our world. It also goes to hierarchy and hiding something, because we are the company who want to be as transparent as it can be, and we need everyone to see what is going on in our team, because it helps you, it helps us, it helps everyone to receive good feedback and to proceed with problem solving, because whenever you are using an open chat, you can tag the people that you need. But as you are DMing later on, you will have to retell what was in that DM and whatever was there. Also, we need to be taking notes for everyone to see. And it doesn't mean for everyone from one team to see, but it means that whenever you are taking notes, it's important for entire Nobel to see what's going on in your team. Because there might be the case that you might need someone's help. And whenever this time comes, you will have to explain in some different words, trying to search for different information in the DMs. It's not really efficient. So the open chat is always there. Other teams can come and check on what's going on, can assign you a task, can ask you for something, and check if the task is done. And also, it makes communication more reliable, which means that I know that I can tag anybody from operations or automations, and it will be visible for everyone. Everyone will be able to make a loop there and to resign this task for somebody else, for instance. And this is the effective way to work, as well as having agenda and coming prepared. So it's also pretty much basic standards. Yeah, we need to make our meeting as efficient and we can be, and that's why we have to use live meetings, uh, only if we can not resolve an issue in the chat. So the way we have to collaborate is posting agenda sometime before the meeting. It's up to a team to agree. Either it is one day before the meeting or it is a few hours before the meeting. And you discuss everything that is in the agenda. And whenever you can resolve an issue in the chat, you never proceed with this in the meeting. You get it resolved and you're done. You have the meeting only in case you cannot resolve something in the chat. It takes too much time, it takes more discussions, more details to be provided, and so on and so forth. And of course, it's your accountability. And it's our accountability to hold each other accountable, because we need to come prepared to our meetings. And it's never the case that you can come to a meeting, I don't know, 10 times in a row and say that, oh my God, I forgot something or something like that. We understand that we are all humans and we are all people, and something can happen in our life. We can oversleep something, we can be too busy, or something like that. But it's always important to understand that there is some responsibility on us. And if we are not on time, we have to think either about our time management or about the amount of project that we are having, about some school or outside issues that might also take your time. So, in order to be able to contribute to the project in the best way, we need to understand and we need to evaluate our time. And whenever we understand that we are not fine with the timing, that we are like in something, then we better drop one project and be dedicated to the second one totally, than having 10 projects that we are not contributing, not to a single of them. So let's hold each other accountable on it, and let's make sure that we are coming prepared and with our agenda being done. And of course, the last point is taking notes live. We recently had this conversation, and it's really important to take these notes, because after that one, you will be able to see if everyone on the call and if everyone on the meeting agrees on what was told. So you take a 10-second break, sorry, and or whatever you need, and you take those notes. You write everything down. You don't have to make the entire story or write a paragraph. It's just a simple keynote on what was discussed, what are your takeaways and what are your action items. And you have everyone on the team reading it, and only when the entire team agrees on what is written, you can proceed with the further discussion. Because once again, our spoken language is very different from the written one, and there are language differences. There are other things that might occur when something was being discussed. It can be, I don't know, any issue. And you can just miss some point and not understand something. So whenever you write your notes down, you enable your team to understand what was discussed and make sure that you're on the same page. So the notes that you'd like to take is can be the photos participants, agenda, what you discussed, key takeaways, and your action items. And once you see the notes, once you agree with everything, you can proceed with the next topic. They are all our open, honest, direct with respect communication components. It is just a slide for you to see all of them and maybe to print screen or whatever you might need to do with that one. So to sum up, here are 12 key components which will help you become the best coworker and the best person because it applies not only to Nobel but to your life in general. And let's move to our next topic, which is asking questions. As you can see, there are 5 questions, 5 types of questions. And the first 2 types, which are highlighted with blue ones, they are mostly focused on information gathering and understanding something without judgment. They are restating or active listening questions and clarifying questions. We will also discuss them why by one later on. The second one, the second type, is the red one, which, as you can understand from the pictures and from the color, they are not the best questions to ask to your peers during the team meeting. They are passive aggressive questions and the open ended, or as you may call them, softball questions. We will also discuss them. And the powerful questions. They are highlighted with green, and in contrast, powerful questions are about challenging some assumptions and provoking deeper understanding, and they are often leading to innovation and improvement. So it means that powerful questions they come up on the stage of effective feedback. Let me show you the slide of it. So the first 2 types go to open, honest, and direct communication with respect. And powerful feedback, they happen only on the constructive conflict level. So we don't want to get to powerful questions before we discuss everything and before we're on the same page. So once again, restating and clarifying questions, they refer to open, honest, and direct communication, which help you understand the topic better, provide more details, and so on and so forth. And powerful questions, they are mostly the feedback tools and the tools for constructive conflict. It is also important to understand, as I highlighted and basically separated these questions into good and bad ones, it is also important to understand the tone in which these questions are said, because, for example, even a well intentioned clarifying question can be perceived as an aggressive one if asked in a confrontational tone or something like that. And the same goes with powerful questions. They can be highly effective, but may also require a certain level of trust and openness within the team. And only in this case that will be reserved. So once again, if you are sure that you have all of these components, only then you can proceed with the powerful questions. And these first 2 types of questions, they actually refer to this level and they help you gain understanding, check for understanding. They help you being direct, respecting others, staying on topic, and being present. So let's talk about each of them one by one. First 2 types, they are restating or active listening questions, and the example of this question can be the one that you can see on the slide, something like, so you think we should deploy to all the interns in January, or something like, okay, is it what you said, and restating what the person said. The purpose of this question is to ensure understanding and to show that the listener is engaged and is listening actively and is understanding everything. It's basically checking for understanding way where I understand that everyone is being on the same page and everyone is understanding equally what was discussed. It also helps the speaker feel heard and can clarify or correct any misunderstandings as they have already occurred. Clarifying questions, they are the second type of checking for understanding questions. And its examples can be, okay, can you tell me more about what has happened? Or could you say that in a different way? And the purpose of these questions is to gain more detailed information and a deeper understanding of the topic, which also encourages elaboration and providing a more comprehensive view of a situation. So it also helps you clarify things and add some information that you feel like is lacking, or show to the team that they've done uh, I would say not enough research, but that they might have lost something when doing their research. So it can be some kind of a knowledge gap which might have happened to the team when doing a research. The second types of questions are those red questions. They are passive aggressive questions. The examples of them you can see in the chat, or I'm sorry, on the slides. Something like, when are you going to be done with this one? Or were you planning on addressing these errors at any point? So these questions obviously create a negative atmosphere and they potentially lead to defensiveness or conflict. And often they are used to express some frustration or criticisms. However, it's pretty much understandable that can be framed in another way, that then it can be restated, or that they can be asked in another way to make sure that we are asking clarifying question or restating something, but not asking passive aggressive questions, as nobody probably wants to answer these ones. And the open ended softball questions, they are something like, what did you like about your research? How do you feel? What is the most interesting? They are great questions during the coaching meeting or during some kind of a self reflection meeting, but it doesn't really help you gain more information and gain more understanding on what is going on. So they are pretty much useless questions which give no clarity or no deep understanding and that take a lot of time. In order to understand if this question is a softball one or not, just whenever you have a question in mind, ask yourself, okay, if I'm gonna ask this one, how is it gonna affect the team? Or how is it gonna affect the person whom I'm asked? If you feel like this question does not make any difference, then don't ask this one. So, for instance, asking what is the most important about your research, I don't feel like it will have a great impact and it will make a lot of difference. So they are not bad questions as the passive aggressive ones, but they are pretty much useless ones and they just take some time, take valuable time from the meeting and make no sense. And the last one are the powerful questions. Once again, they are the feedback tools mostly. And you can see its examples on the slide. Something like, how might we turn this obstacle into an opportunity? Or how can we learn from this failure to improve next time? So they are the questions to challenge some assumptions and provoke thoughts, and they're often used for feedback and ideation, for problem solving, and for some improvement areas. They can always stimulate some constructive conflict and ideation, but once again, make sure that the team is ready for the constructive conflict because if there is no trust inside the team, then there can be not constructive conflict happening. And it'll also, these types of questions help reducing defensiveness by encouraging self-reflection and problem solving. Once again, when having a trust in the team, when the trust is already established, people do not get defensive, and it really helps you ideate and perform in the best way and understand each other and what is happening. However, if people are getting defensive, then it's not going to work out. So here is the summary of all the questions and all its examples and its explanations. Once again, we have restating questions, clarifying questions, passive aggressive questions, open ended questions, and the powerful ones. Feel free to have a look at it. You will also have this table in the spreadsheet. And I hope this video was useful for you. See ya next time.